Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. It's gonna be a Zerg versus Protoss, but more importantly, a bot versus bot, and it's gonna be the top dog Eris taking on miniToss. miniToss, a bot that I've definitely cast a few times before, but we'll see how it's going to do against Eris. It's definitely a tall order for any bot to try and bring down Eris, but Eris is the staple. Whatever your go-to meal is, Eris is that. It's the best. It always hits right, and you never get tired of it. So, yeah. A ZVP is the matchup, however. Protoss bots are always very unique and interesting to watch, so we'll see what miniToss is going to bust out here today. And ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this one, make sure to go ahead and click that like button, poke that like button, kick that like button, lick that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is a pretty regular channel as far as bot videos is concerned. Leave a comment down below saying more bots. You guys are the best at it, always doing that for these videos. And yeah, we'll see as this game is going to progress. So far, incredibly normal openings from these two. The wall's a little bit funky for miniToss, but seems like it's going to be a solid wall. The Protoss essential solid wall. And yeah, then Eris just tends to go for the fast third hatchery. It is a very macro-focused bot. miniToss getting up a second gas, getting up that cyber core. All the while the Overlord for Eris is going to come in here and be like, yeah, everything's normal. Everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about. No crazy Protoss shenanigans already. Metabolic boost is on the way for Eris. Pulls out of the gas. Just going to be getting up that third hatchery soon. That drone is scouting around as well. All the best bots do scout around to check for cheeses. And we do have a forge now on the way for miniToss, which is interesting. We'll see what it's going to utilize that for. This forge building, that's definitely not a solid wall yet, so this Ling does just run on in and start eating that pylon. Nom nom nom, it says. We'll see if anything's going to pop out to deal with that, and it will be a stalker. So that Zergling's days are going to be numbered, getting body blocked, and will be killed. Stalker can now hang out in that wall, potentially. Is that a solid wall in the corner with the pylon there? Like, it's always tough to say. I feel like Lings could get through there. I'm 90% sure that Lings can run through there and there. So miniToss may need to expand on this wall a little bit. We do have a Twilight Council and +1 on the way, so making use of that forge early on. +1 builds aren't super common for Protoss, at least focusing on +1 this hard. We do sometimes see like +1 blink, but usually the +1 is not started till after the blink started, just due to how the timings and everything work out. So yeah, interesting build here by miniToss. It's now getting up a cannon to defend that wall, to hold the line. A Zealot on the way. It's using all of the chrono boosts that it possibly can, so maintaining a nice worker count. The third is getting on up, and a Burrow is going to be next for Eris. No surprise there. Burrow is such a high value upgrade. For how good Burrow is in bot games, the community should almost like quadruple the cost of it, as it is so effective. You never know what mechanics are going to be OP until someone decides to build a bot that utilizes them. For example, Blink on the way for miniToss can potentially be pretty darn good, depending on how well it's utilized. There's that third Nexus on the way already, which is actually incredibly early for a Protoss third. That's a 4-minute third Nexus, but that's totally fine against Eris, as Eris is just a macro Zerg for the most part. It's not going to attack till it has 200 supply, really. Doesn't go for any harassment, that kind of thing. We do have that wall being walled by the Zealot. Maybe I'm wrong, because the Ling didn't try and get through there, but I don't think so. I've played a bit of StarCraft, and I'm pretty sure a Ling could get through there if it was really motivated enough. Now, we do have that sentry actually chasing the link for Eris, so the sentry going on a mission way too far out on the map. Classic bot things, getting completely pulled around by a singular unit. We do have that blink on the way. +2 is on the way, so that early forge is going to lead to even more upgrades for miniToss. Extended thermal lance is on the way, and blink, and then a 4th nexus is going up as well. miniToss is like the most greedy bot in the world. We do have this sentry and stalker going way too far, getting baited on out. Blink is on the way next. That 4th nexus coming on out, and yeah, everything is looking completely normal here for Eris. For miniToss, it is super macro focused. Now, Eris getting out lots and lots of drones, going to be at that 80 drone mark on 4 bases, going for some Ling harassment. Actually gets a really nice surround on that Immortal, so that's probably going to die, and that is a high value pickoff. This is what happens when miniToss goes for a very early 4th base. It's got a battery queued up, but that's not going to start. The battery and the cannon, once those are up, will help lock the space down. Still, that's very nice harassment by miniToss. It's like that observer, going to allow that overlord to be killed. Nicely done there, having that programmed in. Eris is now starting to put its foot on the gas as it hits that 83 worker mark. At some point, there becomes nothing to do but make copious amounts of units. As 5 extractors are on the way, that's going to lead to a lot of gas. miniToss itself, though, is at quite a healthy worker count, with a very healthy Nexus count already. So it is going to be just mass macro against mass macro. miniToss, though, getting up a Stargate, getting up that +2, which could be very significant, having an upgrade lead against the Protoss. The Stargate and Immortal on the way, so still just making a ragtag group of units. A random Colossus is walking on out. Where are you going, Colossus? Please be careful. Oh dear. This Colossus is stomping around, and I'm a little bit concerned after seeing what happened to that Sentry and Adept. Colossus does cut up those Lings, and Observer in position to get a 5th base, apparently. That's actually very bizarre, just how quick that 5th is. And it goes to show that if you know, like, you can program a bot that macros even harder and even greedier than Eris. However, you cannot rely on that against every bot, because there is a lot of bots that do go for early aggression. And so miniToss, I get the feeling, doesn't get away with this kind of greed against a lot of other bots. For example, like Xena, not a chance that this would work, I don't think. Supply-wise, Eris is still in a very good spot with its Beastie Zerg macro going. It's got a big gas shortage right now, as it's got a big mineral bank. It's getting up another base. It's still mining from all of its gases at this point, though, so it should start to even that out a little bit. It's almost maxed out soon, too. 8 gateways are now on the way for miniToss, which is just nuts. Make that 9 gateways. Fleet Beacon going up as well. When you're Protoss and you have this much of an economy, just get all the tech, apparently, is the answer. Psystorm could be big, too, depending on how well Eris splits. Eris is gearing up for an attack, however. It's got a lot of roaches, a lot of hydras, a High Templar's out on the map. It's very vulnerable. Psystorm is not yet done. It's a single Immortal and a High Templar just going to get killed off, and they get gobbled up like it's nothing. That is not a good start for Mini, so it may not be getting away with this aggression. It has had a long lease on life from Eris not attacking, but Eris has finally reached its attack point at the 8-minute mark in the game, fully maxed out, killing off a lot of these Protoss units for starters. The grouping on this army. The one Colossus is getting a lot of swipes off, and the Stalkers are microing as well as they can. A fungal growth is added in there, though. That's going to allow some of those Stalkers to potentially be killed. Eris is committed on in very heavily, so these roaches are a little bit in trouble. And miniToss does have a big bank, so a big economy, so it can make a lot of units behind this with those 10 gateways it created. Eris is trading out, though. Army supply is still double for the Zerg bot. +3 is about to finish for miniToss, though. That's big. That's going to allow these units to pack much more of a punch. 2-2 is on the way for Eris, so it'll kind of be even upgrades after that. And now We do have Eris going into those lurkers, which could be problematic for miniToss. miniToss's Colossus still doing what it can, though, up to 23 kills. Roaches and Hydras are spilling forward, though. There is a good amount of Protoss here, though. However, Eris closing the distance using a fungal growth. The supply, though, actually on the front lines, not looking too good, as miniToss is starting to build a bit of this Protoss death ball. Army supply really shooting up for the Protoss bot, actually, with 100 to 80. And yeah, Eris is going to need to start taking some better trades sometime soon. miniToss poking out on the map with its mass gateway style. Fungal growth gets tossed on down. That's nicely done. The lurkers are now being produced, which could be very big depending on how well miniToss deals with those, or doesn't deal with them. That Colossus finally does go down, falling into a million pieces. And miniToss still pushing out onto creep. Fungal growth hitting a lot of those stalkers, High Templar. Those lurkers are now on the way. There is an observer with this army, though. So we'll see if there's behavior for miniToss to blink on top of these lurkers or not. Eris is just sandbagging this attack as well as it can. Resources lost, so not going too well for Eris. And it's just crazy how much stuff miniToss can make. Like, okay, we do see a big fungal, the lurker getting some spines off. However, the observer comes forward. That's going to allow that to be killed off. Second lurker going to go down as well. And yeah, it's just crazy how well miniToss, how much stuff miniToss can make. It's almost like it plays like a Zerg, just with being overly greedy by a huge degree. This lurker doesn't have an observer on top of it, so it's getting lots of spines off. So defender's advantage kicking in for Eris as it's cleaning up a lot of these Protoss units. And it will hold the line. We have got 3-3 on the way for the Zerg. The Protoss just heading into 3-2, so upgrades will eventually favor the Zerg slightly, as it's just ground army against ground army. Psystorm goes down, however, Roaches and Hydras are pretty darn good. miniToss still only on 5 bases. Eris has got plenty of bases to its name as it moves forward and starts to trade out once more. However, things tend to swing in favor of the defender. A good fungal being paired with that lurker, though, getting off some big spines there, cutting into these Protoss ground units. One of those lurkers does go down, but there's another fungal. The fungals for Eris have been really good this game. That lurker does get taken care of, though, and miniToss is once again on the offensive, as these bots are trading out just so many resources. It's 90 workers against 90 workers, just trading out non-stop. And now Eris is on the defensive again. There's no lurkers defensively this time, so that could be problematic, but there we see Corruptors come on in, so the Colossus, the Tempest are going to be in a bit of trouble. That Colossus going down would be quite big. There's more Spellcasters being added on in as that Viper pops on out. Colossus still being a pain. One Roach trying to be a hero, a second Roach coming on in. The Colossus is still alive, just barely. So the value is being had from these Protoss units. Eris is actually really bleeding out a lot of supply. I'm not sure where its money is going, but its supply is not going up. Resources lost are really growing as mining is being hurt, as this Protoss comes on in, kills off that base actually. Psystorm being dropped on the Broodlings, a bit overkill. Hallucinated Archon being added on in for miniToss, and Eris is in a bit of a spot of bother here, as this 5-base Protoss monster with its 12 gateways has just been producing so much stuff, attacking on in. Eris needs to consolidate a little bit, and it's spending so much money, but it's losing so many units as this game goes on. Like, it doesn't even seem like it's losing that much in these fights, but I guess it is just all over the place. Not able to get its supply up. miniToss does pull back. This is going to give Eris a moment. However, Eris may need some more lurkers, actually, in order to stay alive in this game. Those really were the best defensive tool it had. Does it have any on the map right now? The answer is no. It's got Vipers, lots of Corruptors on the way. That seems a little misguided, though, seeing as how many Blink Stalkers there is, and there really is only 3 Tempest in the sky, so more on the ground would be good. We saw feedback. Well, we didn't see. It was off screen, but we heard the feedback sound as those 2 Vipers got feedback. We're seeing another fungal go down for Eris as it tries to hold on right now. Its supply is up to 180 as a good fungal growth got off there. Psystorm killing drones that are burrowed. Being underground doesn't save you from Psystorm, which is a terrifying thought. And now we see Zealots killing off a base of Eris, so multi-prong attack by miniToss. That's cool to see. We also see some units towards the left side, so the unit control was really darn good. And Eris is in a spot of bother. Its unit comp just isn't what it needs against this just rapid trading. And it's nuts to see that there is a bot that can kind of match Eris's pace. That isn't like Cannon Anna, I guess. As, miniToss just playing a great game here. Fungal growth goes off for Eris, but there's really nothing to go with it. And the composition for miniToss is good. Attacking non-stop, it was actually able to wear Eris out, it looks like, and the Protoss has been on the Zerg side of the map for like 5 minutes straight. Eris needs to max out. Needs to get out some more lurkers, most importantly. I'm not sure why it stopped making those lurkers. I guess it's just busy trying to get out supply, that it's not going for those higher cost units, but it's like, you kind of need those higher cost units, my guy. Vipers are moving out on the map, but there's really nothing to group up with them. The Corruptors are flying around, but there's really no targets for them, well, there's 3 Tempests, but that's a lot of dead supply for the Zerg as this army is grouping up on top of the high ground, trying to avoid that, which is kind of cute. miniToss kind of being pulled in multiple directions. This is giving Eris a bit of time to rebuild its army. Fungal growth going down on these Protoss units, but Fungal alone isn't actually that good against Protoss units. That's why we see Fungal Lurker, Fungal Corrosive Bile. It's just not been happening for Eris. If it can max out, maybe it can take a better fight. These Corruptors are trying to zone out the Tempest, but their use is really limited pretty much just to soaking as the Corruptors try and dive in, dive out, eating lots of shots. Programming those units to micro air to ground or ground to air interactions is not easy, I imagine. We see Roaches and Hydras trying to form a good concave, taking a pretty good trade against miniToss so far. It looks like as miniToss seemingly has found its safe space and is just hanging out here. So Eris is holding the line for now, staying at a decent supply. Still got this base down to the bottom left that's mining away. However, 2 Stalkers are harassing, so it's going to be important for Eris that it can free this location up. Drones are running all over the place. As 1 Roach trying to be a hero, a couple of Lings in the Roach will indeed save the mining on this base. That's really important. Some more Roaches moving on out as miniToss actually took this Nexus. I didn't see that, pardon me. Somehow I missed a Nexus building. I guess I didn't expect it to be there. Eris says, no Nexus there, though. And it will indeed clean this up, it looks like. Taking some good trades against a smaller group of the army as miniToss is kind of bugging out a little bit. I don't know if it's this drone in the bottom corner or what, but miniToss is really having a hard time. Oh, okay, there's like 6 burrowed drones in there, in case you guys are missing this. So the Observer, if I pull up the Observer tab, they must be having a hard time reaching this location, which is why miniToss is a little bugged out. It's like, there be treasure here, but it forgot its treasure map, so to speak. Now, Roaches and Hydras are running around all over the place. Eris has built up to that big supply, so things are going to start looking better for it. miniToss has got this base up. I don't know how long it'll stay alive. A 6 base is important for the Protoss, though, as it will start to run out of resources once it gets through its massive bank. We're even seeing a bit of Roach harassment by Eris. A singular Roach, all the while Stalkers returning the favor, being a nuisance, really testing the multitasking of both these bosses. And these 6 drones hiding out really are saving the day for miniToss, or for Eris, pardon me. Like, I feel like Eris would have been in trouble, but now it's had time to rebuild up a big army. It is eating lots of Side Storms, though. Even feedback's going down. Vipers do move forward. Blinding Cloud. Eris is choosing to deal with this army, and that was a really good Blinding Cloud. Parasitic Bomb getting mixed in too. And these Roaches and Hydras put out a lot of damage against Protoss units. There is good armor on them, though, so they're maybe not dying as fast as you'd imagine. Still, though, I think that was an okay trade for Eris. The safe space hanging on, though. Keeping Eris safe with these burrowed drones as miniToss has a hard time. We finally see those Corruptors be useful as there's Broodlords out now. Phoenix are being made as a result for miniToss. That's not the best. A couple of Lings and a Roach trying to harass this 5th base. That's actually really nice for Eris. Denying mining is quintessential. We see some long-distance mining going on as miniToss once again struggles with invisible things trying to take this base here. It says build, 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 build. The bot authors are like, no, just keep trying. Don't put in a cooldown or anything. You must keep trying. It doesn't matter whether... Oh, man. Anyway, so things are starting to look a little bit up for Eris. As it is maxed out, these Broodlords are getting some volleys off. Free Broodlings trading out is always nice. Viper's even abducting High Templars, returning the favor after all those feedbacks. The critical observers could also be killed off here, potentially. And so while Eris has lost a couple bases, it's still got some good mining at these locations. The gold actually is starting to run out, but I mean, it's still got this base to the top right here. miniToss, it is having its mining be interfered with at this 5th base location. As Queen and Hydra being a nuisance. Looks like there is a fight going out on the map. Big Psystorms getting dropped as Eris is being chased on away. Its income is in favor of miniTosses, but miniToss does have that bank, so these Broodlords are going to be really important here in this fight. Infestor gets lifted on up by the Phoenix, so cool to see there's that behavior. The lift and feedback combo being a double whammy. Eris getting knocked back a little bit, still though, preventing any mining really going on at this Nexus. miniToss is trying to push on in to get some damage done. However, it's still struggling to secure up this Nexus, so it's pulling back part of its army to do that. A few Stalkers out on the map being a pain. Looks like this Nexus will go down, potentially. I've said that before, though. I did not expect this Nexus to hang on this long. See a bit of harassment going on by the singular Stalkers. However, Eris still mining from this top right base, whereas miniToss now mining out of its 4th. Its 5th even looking mighty bare, so its bank is dropping, whereas Eris is just kind of sustaining. However, as I say that, miniToss has managed to kill one more of the hatcheries of Eris. And so these 2 bases here are really darn important for Eris. It's holding on the high ground, using the Broodlord's Abduct, goes down on a High Templar. That gets taken on out as these trades just continuously go on. Eris is down a little bit on overall supply. That's because it's lost a good number of workers, so it's actually going to fill that with army. That could be good for it. Another Abduct going down on a High Templar. That's really, really good. And a Queen now fighting 2 High Templar and an Adept. If it was just the 2 High Templar, my money would be on the Queen, but the Adept going to be problematic. A couple of Roaches come on in, though, to defend this location. They will do a great job doing that. Eris is holding on for now, and it just needs to drag this game out a little bit, I feel. But as I say that, though, somehow this Nexus is still alive, and now it's mining full bore. So, okay, that's actually really bad for Eris, as miniToss somehow steals a base on Eris' side of the map. It says, do I want my 6? It says, no, I want your 6. One Hydra comes on in that could kill all these probes. The machine gun that it is. A Stalker will defend this location, though. That is so darn important. And this is actually just really bad for Eris. So Eris falling in supply now as its own income has plummeted, potentially below the replacement amount that it needs. Its naturals being bullied, and the resources lost has just been way better for miniToss. Maybe that's because it had the bigger army for most of the game, so it kind of has had Eris wobbling this whole game, so Eris could never take a good trade with that full army. And as a result, things are looking really darn good for miniToss. Eris is falling in supply. Losing this base is a big blow. It's really just down to 1 functional mining base, and miniToss is on 1 functional mining base, and yeah, that really actually is just it, as it's pretty much completely mined out these locations. So this Nexus is king. For miniToss, it does still have the bank, though, due to its much higher efficiency. And I'll be honest, clicking on this replay, I was like, how does this game play out? And apparently the answer is that miniToss just does its mass gateway thing. And it really goes to show that miniToss's style is kind of a hard counter to Eris. I did look through miniToss's profile. The Spore almost kills a Colossus. And miniToss is way, way lower on the ladder than Eris, but it seems like it's designed almost with Eris in mind. So it goes to show what you can focus on as a bot author. It's like you can program a bot that hard counters Eris, but as far as being a general bot, miniToss has weaknesses, I imagine, to cheese very heavily. And I'll be honest, I did know the results checking in on this one because I was literally just browsing Eris's profile and was like, oh, they lost to miniToss. And so what I did try to do was actually try and find another game without looking at the results, but I couldn't because they're actually so far apart on the ladder that miniToss and Eris apparently almost never face each other. It's like how a Grandmaster doesn't match with bronzes on ladder often. So, I mean, if miniToss matched with Eris more, it might be higher on the ladder, but instead it's a little lower because of that. So maybe I will try and find another match when these two do match against each other. I went up to page 10 to check if they played against each other again, and they did not. So that's unfortunate there, but I think I might put in more effort to try and find another game between these two. This Nexus super duper saturated, but it's doing its job keeping miniToss in this game. Eris actually rebuilding all its tech as its main got cleared, but it's down to 60 supply against a Protoss bot that's got a good amount of money. Still unable to take this base due to that creep spread. But it's so funny how miniToss somehow cleared the creep towards the space and was like, yes, now I shall take it. And I'm not saying it couldn't have won without that, but it definitely helped a little bit, I think. Although it still has got a very healthy bank regardless. Maybe it would have ran out of gas without that base. Who knows? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button. Hope my rambling at the end there made sense. Subscribe to the channel if you made it all the way to the end of this video and you are not a subscriber. You can click that bell icon to get notified whenever I put up a new video, a new post, live stream, that kind of thing. Consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support this content. That is the best way to do it. It's like being a Twitch subscriber. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.